Bennett, what there was, let me, if I give you a moment to explain. What I think happened was they had, you know, elementary, junior high, and senior. And then, you know, every once in a while, people want to update things and do whatever they say is state of the art. You know, what's the best way of doing something. So there was a study done when I think Barbara Bennett was there. And part of it, that study came out that you could do K to 8 and then do 9 to 12. And that in some way would allow for better academic achievement, reduce costs, all these other kind of things. What happened, there was two things. One, I think, was unexpected, and the other may have been expected. The unexpected thing is that they went through a big financial problem. They lost, I think they were tens of millions of dollars that they could not get, and 11 failed. So that had an impact. And the other thing that happened was that when they collapsed from K to 8, they put bigger kids in with younger kids. And they were, which in some schools didn't work, because you had these kids that may have been 8th grade, 13 years old? 13 years old with kids who were 5, 6, and 7 years old. So it really, in some schools, it didn't work out. And it all depends on who the principal is and how that school is run. Those schools that are run real well with good principals, they tend not to have as much difficulty. But I know that those were the two things that people complained about. When they lost the money, they couldn't do the programming that they wanted, and then they put the big kids in with the little kids.
Okay, and also, I'm having a problem at Empire Elementary. I'm going to pick my daughter.
UKA?
Uh-huh.
What do you do there?
Huh?
Are you volunteer there?
No, I'm a parent of a student.
That's what I mean, so you volunteer?
No, I don't volunteer. And I have a problem.
So what's the problem?
When I go to pick my daughter up from school, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District security guards is writing the parents tickets for trying to pick their children up from school.
Do they have
no
right
parking signs on the street? The curb isn't painted red or yellow, you know, like a load zone or anything. But the Cleveland Metropolitan School District is out here writing people tickets. Now, I understand, your job as mayor is hard, and you did a good budget, you know, a good job balancing the budget, and you stay trying to generate revenue for the city, you know, but.
Well, you think I'm right there telling the right to tickets get some money?
It's revenue for the city. I mean,
no,
I mean, let me,
now what we do is their police department that asks us for authority to do things. And so we enter an agreement with them. And if they're saying that we have given them authority to write tickets, then that's so. Now, I would suspect, I don't know, we'll check into it to see, because I don't know, but what I would suspect is the same call I would get from other parents who would say that I can't pick my kid up because all the cars are lined up down the street, or I get from the community where people who live in that community and have homes there, they can't get it out of their driveway because of all these people come pick up their children. So it's you know, it twixt in between. So, but what we'll do is we'll find out what the situation is at Empire, right? We'll find out and see what is their rationale for doing it there. We'll see what that is. I don't know what the rationale is, but I do know there.
Question for you.
What's that?
And I'm through for the night. I want to know, what was your agenda for going to Costa Rica?
To find jobs. What we did was, what you do is this. When you go somewhere, we don't live in an economy where that's just based on Cleveland anymore. We don't live in an economy that's really based on the state of Ohio or the United States. That is why the whole world is in a recession, in some places are in a depression, because our economies are that intertwined. And Costa Rica imports to the United States almost $5 billion in goods every year. And one of the things that we were trying to do is to get them to look at Cleveland as a port of entry, meaning this, that usually do it through Florida. What we're trying to convince them to do is that we have a market in the Midwest. The access to that market and the gateway to that market is through Cleveland. That's what we're trying to convince, not just in Costa Rica, but in Germany and France. That the access to that market is through Cleveland, which is the gateway to the Midwest. And the reason why we're saying that is that you can reach over 200 million consumers within 5 hours or 500 miles of Cleveland. We're strategically located between New York and Chicago. And if someone wants to send their goods and get their goods distributed faster and cheaper, it's easier to do it through a port like in Cleveland than it is to go to Miami or New York. And the reason for that is that it's so congested that they have ships actually waiting to come into port. And then when the ships do come into port and they unload, their goods sit around. And if it's something that's non-perishable, you know, you have to wait quite a bit of time sometimes to get your goods from those points of entry, whether in Florida or New York, into the country, because they have to put them on trucks, they have to put them on trains, all this kind of stuff. And what I was doing was trying to convince the people, the business people in Costa Rica and in Germany and in France that, look, we can get your goods to market much quicker, and we can get your goods to market much cheaper if you come through Cleveland. And now, if that happens, then what you will see is economic growth in Cleveland and job creation in Cleveland. And one more example of this, and